What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome back to Monopoly. Today we've got the end of season 7 review. Hopefully you're all doing fantastic. Unfortunately today, due to user error, me being the user, I don't have the recording that I did at the start of the season. So we're here at the end of the year and it's going to be more of a general retrospect, I suppose, to well, how the 7th season has gone at Monopoly. And of course you can see, just looking at the league table here, we ended up finishing 7th, and after last year's 7th place finish, where of course we qualified for the Euro 2, maybe you'd look at it and go, well, 7th doesn't seem that bad. But the sad reality is that I don't want to say we bottled it, but we should have been in the Champions League. We should have been in the Champions League. Udinese have got in the end, and we only really have ourselves to blame. Unfortunately, the last few games of the season are really where things came crumbling down for us. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the transfers we did going into this season. Of course, you can see here, this was the first year ever where we've really spent big money. One of the ongoing issues we've had at Monopoly has been an inability to get big offers for our players. And we've really turned a corner now with our team, where finally we are starting to sell some players on for some money. I will just say before we go any further, at the time of uploading this video, you catch it the day it's up, about an hour after this video goes live, we are live on Twitch with the World Cup. We're starting off with a game of France versus Brazil. That might feel a little bit out of place, but I want to get it out the way sooner, because I will probably forget later because user error. Anyway, if we just look at the outs real quick, as I said, this was the first year ever where we've got big money for our players. And in fact, one of the players we sold on was Florent Silva, a player who we picked up as a freebie from PSG, played 3 games for us, and we shipped him off to China for £18 million, was not playing a regular role in the first team. He's a good player. Do I think he's an £18 million player? Absolutely not. So to sell him on 6 months into the season and 6 months into him being at the club, that felt like pretty good business. The other player we did let go was also to Wuhan, actually. And it was Jonathan Ocon, who we've sold to Wuhan with a 30% sell-on clause. Now, this guy was a semi-frequent member of the first team, a player who you can see in the first half of the season prior to selling him did make 10 appearances, but again, 18 million even here at Monopoly, even though, you know, we do have a lot of money issues, it's just kind of too much to reject. I mean, you can see here the overall club finances, the club balance looks absolutely superb. We've got 51 million in the bank now. We have got a new stadium that is being built and it should be due to be finished very, very soon. You can see it's going to be done later on this month. And because of that, obviously we're going to hopefully get a whole load more money coming into the club, and hopefully this is now going to mark the beginning of starting to spend big. Anyway, you can see here there was a lot of other sales. This was definitely a season where we cleaned out the under-20s and the under-18s. For a few years, I think I'd kept players around who probably didn't need to be kept around any longer. And yeah, in the end, it was a bit of a fire sale. So there may well be a few familiar names that you recognise here, but ultimately we got a good bit of money. One of the perhaps most notable sales was Sepp van der Berg. He has gone to Brentford. But when it comes to the signings we made this year, we really did bolster the defence. So let's talk about the bolstering of the defence, because I feel like it's, well, probably a good place to start. So we signed Lucas Herzan, who is a Czech international, natural at centre-back, who is right-footed, but likes to play right wing-back. I don't know. I mean, he's an inverted winger, I suppose. But to me, really, really good kind of depth player. Signed for a not dissimilar price for the price that Van der Berg left for. In fact, you can see the net spend about 700k. And he was undeniably a big, big upgrade. But as you can see here, he only actually made 6 appearances during the year. And that was because we signed Molina for 4.4 million. What an insane signing Mario Ortega Molina ended up being. 4.4 million spent on him. His contract was running out, if I'm not mistaken. He wanted to leave. He's very injury prone. He doesn't like big matches. But we've got a hell of a lot out of him this season, including just a ridiculous number of goals in various competitions this year. He, in fact, scored 4 goals in one game during the Euro Cup 2, which we'll talk about how we got on in shortly. But yeah, he was a massive component of our team, the first true world-class player we've signed. And alongside these players, we signed a lot of youngsters for the future, players who I think are really going to serve us well longer term. Players like this guy, Thomas Lopez, for example. Blaise Engel, the Dynamo striker, looks really good, lacking a little on the physicals, but definitely, you know, a player worth keeping an eye on. We signed Home from, I think was it Hoffenheim? No, it was Stuttgart for £10 million. Not a small fee whatsoever. And that was the record signing until we signed 12. I am now going to let you enjoy the circumstances by which we signed 12 by watching a Twitch clip. But I just feel like he could be a good signing. they're doing it. They're doing it. 12 million! No, 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 don't spend 12 million on him. Don't spend 12. No, 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 no. No, not 12 million. Not 12 million. Put, no. No, 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 we don't have, no. What are you doing? What the are you doing? Oh, you've bought him. You've actually bought him. Are you trying to ruin me? Are you trying to ruin me? Don't. So yeah, that's how my chairman decided to spend £12 million on a player worth 200k. You might think, well, how's he done in his first year? He's not played very much for a club record signing of 12 million. Additionally, I have just trained him to play striker because in a bit of a protest against the board and because maybe he could be good at it. I mean, he's not really a great defender with 8 marking and, well, 11 tackling and positioning. I've decided why not train him as a striker as well? Why not make him an old school player who can play up top or as a defender? I mean, I'll tell you why not, because this is what happens to your attributes when you learn to play new positions. Either way, if someone came in with a £12 million bid, I would probably weigh it up quite carefully and consider selling him. That is also the reason he's known as 12. That isn't his actual name. If you're wondering, his actual name is Cazelle, but we know him as 12, the £12 million man who is absolutely useless. A couple of other players just worth talking about. Baldini's joined as a really young Italian. Keep an eye on this guy. I've got a lot of high hopes pinned on him. And the other player who I'm kind of a bit excited about, just because he's a unique nationality, is Ravi Fernando, who we ended up signing from Dortmund. He's a 20-year-old Sri Lankan goalkeeper. Yes, that is a nationality I don't think I've ever had before. Got to catch them all. But yeah, we made a few signings for the future here as well. I guess one more player who played a pretty big role in the team, in fact two, Kenny Toro. We signed to be a backup centre-back this year. He had his own little saga, which we won't touch upon today, but put it this way, we had to do some weird dealings to free up non-EU spots in the team. And additionally, perhaps the surprise player of the season in terms of he didn't do as much as I thought he might, Jordan Henderson, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Jordan Henderson, model citizen. He is, well, nurturing the talent of tomorrow. After a number of years at Liverpool, he's made the trip over to join us at the mighty Monopoli. Charlie Adam put in a good word. What I would say is, Danny Braganza has kept him out for most of this season. Kind of Henderson came in, I thought, well, you're going to just dislodge Braganza. And, I mean, he did initially, but then I started looking at the statistics thinking, what the dickens am I doing? Yeah, you can see here, Braganza, 13 assists in 30 games. Henderson, 6 assists in 35 appearances. Not much of a comparison there, if we're being honest. So yeah, Danny Braganza continues to hold down his name in the starting 11. And well, this is kind of the team that we ended with as our Dream 11. I realise there's more new players here that we should talk about. We actually signed a few this year. So we got in Ferry, who we signed from Norwich for a bargain, 175k in January. We already approached to sign him and agreed a contract, but we were able to exercise about by now. And additionally, with Ocon going out, we picked up Nuno Mendes as a really cheap stopgap player from Sporting. Not a bad left back, very, very good physicals. You know, not terrible. He doesn't really have a gap in his game. He's just not very good anywhere other than the fact he's fast. But you know what? Fullbacks in Football Manager, sometimes all you need is a bit of speed. You can see here he's got 4 assists in 15 appearances, 2 of which have been off the bench in the league. And, well, let's talk about the league season. Enough of bigging up, all these signings we've made and how great we've done. How did this season actually play out? And the reality is, compared to some seasons, it's been a bit of a tame one, a bit of a, I don't want to say a flat season, but one of those years where we never really got going. We were never in a title race. We were in a Champions League race right until the death, to be fair, but we completely fluffed it up by our own accord. But yeah, you can see here it was a bit of a mix and match. You can see here Inter did end up winning the league over Milan despite having a worse head-to-head because of a 3-point gap. That 3-point gap exists because we beat them on the penultimate day of the season, but not before. We'd lost to Lazio 3-2. Yes, we'll talk about the league first. So going into the league with 3 games left, we knew if we won them all, we would finish top 4. And, of course, I knew that we had to play Lazio, who were in 3rd. We had to play Milan, who were in 2nd. It wasn't going to be easy. In the end, the 2 games that you perhaps label as slightly easier ended up being the tricky ones. The first of which was against Lazio, where, as you can see here, it finished 3-2. So in this game, if we just look at the stats, I mean, I'm still not over it. 5 clear-cut chances, and we scored 2. Sonson didn't have the best of games. Our strikers were lacking, and I think that is the trend that emerged towards the end of the year. We just didn't have enough firepower in the big moments. This game against Lazio, I suppose, was a fairly big disappointment by all accounts, but that wasn't the only disappointment, as in the final game of the season, knowing that a win would still be enough, we lost to Torino 2-0. They didn't have a clear-cut chance or a half chance. They were just very clinical with little mini opportunities, and we could not score. And I was a bit gutted about that. But the silver lining was the Euro Cup. The silver lining was, you know what, we've done well in the Euro Cup. And if we just filter out everything else, because nothing else matters, let's be honest. In the Euro Cup, we did pretty well. Obviously, it's our first debut in a European competition outside of the Champions League last season. So this was the first competition I feel like we've gone into where I had high expectations. And to be fair, we matched them. We beat Slovan Bratislava to qualify 10-0 on aggregate. Good goals at home, getting 3 of them. Of course, he was brought in for 10 million at the age of 18. High hopes for him for the future. Got off to a great start. Wasn't exactly a sign of things to come. Then in the group, we met CSKA Moscow, of course, who we met in the Champions League alongside Sarajevo and Antwerp. We won all of those games, including with a rotated team. 12 picked up a few goals as well, playing as an out-of-position striker at that point. And well, into the knockout rounds we went, where we beat Rapid Vienna 6-2 away from home. Molina with 4 there. We are starting to now nickname him the Yeti because of that performance. We did lose the return leg, but I just rotate. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at that point. We then took on Kuopio Cups. We beat them 7-1 on aggregate. We then met Bilbao in the semi-final. That was a very tricky game, but the first leg won 3-0, set us up nicely. And well, there was a little bit of drama in this game. They scored 2 goals. You felt like it was inevitable. We got a sending off. They needed 1 goal to take it to extra time. We broke away, and Aharoni on the counter-attack finished the goal, and well, got us through to the final where we met Newcastle United, and it didn't go to plan. It didn't go to plan. Let's watch the goals. Why not? They had, I mean, I don't know if I can load up the stats. I can't. We'll have a look at them in game. It was just so unfortunate this game. We were the better team for big spells. They even had a sending off in the second half, but a quick fire double right before half-time was such a sucker punch. And similarly to the game against Torino, where we just couldn't find a goal. In this game, we just couldn't find a goal either. So the first goal was a breakaway for Newcastle. The second one, a thunderous effort from range. Villa in the wide areas whips it back post. The Mole heads it away to Beck. Could we launch a counter-attack? A goal 30 seconds before half-time would be a sucker punch. I mean, or we can just give it to them. Please, Football Manager. I'm just going to sit here and sulk. I hope that's acceptable. How are they winning 2-0? And with that, we had heartbreak. And the worst thing of all was, we knew that we were going into the Euro Cup to next year unless we could win the final. That would get us a Europa League spot. We bottled that. So this kind of, I don't want to say B-tier tournament, but not a proper cup, not a proper European competition. We're going to be acquainted with it again. We are going to be in it again next year. So hopefully we can do one better, I suppose, next time. I think the defeat is going to sting for a while, particularly because of the nature of it. As I said, the stats. Just, I mean, to be fair, we didn't create enough clear-cut chances, but I felt like on the balance of play, we probably should have done a little bit better. I should be over this, and I'm just not. Maybe that's a sign that I care, I suppose. So anyway, in terms of the kind of general team performances, top goal scorers this season, Resende, Mejbri and Unaland. Resende I've really liked. Of course, we signed him for 500k last season halfway through. Got 8 goals in 14 there. This year he got 9 in the league. In the league he wasn't too clinical, although he set up a few. But in Continental Cup football for us, he got 6 goals in 8 games, so a really good return there. Mejbri and Unaland not dissimilar either. I do think the Continental matches, particularly against the likes of Sarajevo, and Slovan Bratislava, they really inflated the stats and make it look like a few of our strikers played superbly. From my kind of time watching the team, I can tell you now safely that the striking department is where the improvements are going to come next year. Worth noting that Sosa and Molina, I'm thinking of Molina, Sosa and Molina as a centre-back duo did absolutely superb. 2 Argentine players. It's worth noting that Molina does have a release clause in his contract, and I can't get him to remove it. So that's a little bit of a cause for concern, and it's only 27 million, which on the one hand isn't really enough for how good he is. On the flip side, we've already got Kenny Toro, we've already got Jose Sosa, we've got centre-backs galore, we've got centre-backs coming out of our ears, really. So of all the positions we could lose a player in, it could be worse. You can see here kind of their head-to-head comparison. Statistically, here's how they shaped up against one another. In the fans' player of the season voting, one of them got first and the other got second. I don't think I've ever had that with centre-backs before, but I suppose when they get 23 goals between them, albeit over what was almost a 50-game season, that's perhaps not entirely surprising. Ferry had a really good impact after he joined us from Norwich. He was definitely one of the standout performers. You can see here, sorting by average ratings, Danny Braganza ran the show, really forced Henderson out the team, which was a surprise. Sosa did well. The Mole as well. I know the Mole has a fan club with his sixth vision. That is why he's called the Mole. He's obviously been battling a lot of injuries this year. He's had his fair share. He's in fact had a broken collarbone, then he's fractured his lower arm, and recently he's strained his groin. It's not seen his physicals tank off completely, but at the age of 21, he probably is our best right back right now, but truth be told, probably need to be looking to get in a replacement for him longer term. Mejbri played 50 games, absolutely superb. No complaints about him whatsoever. He did miss a few penalties. I do have a complaint. I've lied. He didn't score all his penalties, so make of that what you will. But all in all, the average age of the team is really coming down. Our reputation in global football is going up. That is seeing bigger offers coming in for our players. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, we risk losing some of our best players that we're trying to build around. On the flip side, it just gives us a lot of money to reinvest into the squad. And of course, with the new stadium coming along, with obviously this increase in rep and selling players on for money, the money issues of seasons gone past probably aren't going to be much of a concern anymore. Anyway, just to talk about the ins, Jack Waterston, I'm trying to sign. It ain't going to happen. I've made my peace with the world. But Lincoln Fernando, spoilers, because this save game is a little bit earlier than when I left things on stream. We've signed this guy. This is a taste of the future. I think for us, he is going to be the Unaland replacement. Playing as a deep line forward on attack, I think he could be a really, really good player. So, yeah, we'll see how Lincoln does, I suppose, over the next couple of weeks, going into season number 8. Anyway, that's it for the end of season recap today. I apologise for the fact it's a little bit all over the place. I lost the recording for the first half of the season, which is always annoying because it's often way better for me to do that, talk about the expectations and stuff. Ultimately, though, it is another year of European football, which I suppose at the end of the day is the main thing. Back-to-back 7th place finishes. I feel like we now need to be targeting just becoming a regular of European football. Molina, I would need to keep hold of, but that release clause is going to scare me. Really, we've got such a young team. I think a lot of it is now just a sitting and waiting game, hoping that the coming of age happens and players really start to step up. Anyway, as I said earlier, we are managing France at the moment and we have made it to a World Cup. So if you would like to see us playing in that, do join the stream. There will be a link down below. It's starting at 8 PM British summer time. We're kind of juggling the transfer duties of Monopoly with a World Cup. It's a bit of a nightmare. We've already knocked out Italy, which is controversial. And the first game of the stream is going to be against Brazil. So get in for that. It's going to be starting at 8 PM British summer time sharp. Hopefully I see you guys there. Thank you for watching this video today. Hope you enjoyed the catch-up. If there's anything I miss with these, I ask this all the time, but if there is anything that you've sat today and gone, I wish Jack had talked about that a little bit more, please let me know it. I will include it next time. And that is all for me today. I'm done rambling. I'll see you guys again soon. See you tomorrow for Lizanak, or on stream, of course. It's me, Jack. Shut up, Jack. I'll talk to you in a bit. I'm out.